New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie, Kenny Fry. Here it is, Hump Day! There we go. You know what day it is. All right. Halfway through that work week. Uh, it's raining, thunderstorms, all sorts of crap here in Pennsylvania. So if you hear some booms or if for some reason I lose internet connection, it's due to the storms. They had a couple pretty loud cracks about an hour ago. I know there's a couple bands coming through, so hopefully I get this in before anything happens to the stream here. So let's not mess around here and just let's kick her off. All right, so we've talked so many different times about Pete Alonso contract talks, all this stuff, blah blah blah. What's Stearns doing? Is he going Moneyball type or whatever? Is he not going to sign Alonso? Or are they looking to sign Soto instead of Alonso? All this this that the other. So it's going to be a long season with all this, and it is what it is. I guess if you ask me, it's the nature of the beast. When you have a superstar type player that you let go to free agency, which the way it looks to me, it looks like the Mets will let him go to free agency. And I personally, I don't have a problem with that. I understand it on his side. I kind of understand it on their side. I would have liked to, if I were them, I would have liked to have wrapped them up, maybe a year ago. I probably would get him, cheaper. If he comes out there and just destroys it, you're probably going to pay, pay more. Which we want him to destroy. We want him to come out and have a great season, and for the Mets to surprise some people this year, because there's not a whole lot of expectations for the Mets this season. Just, kind of the way they spent this offseason and some of the pieces that they traded away this offseason or last season at the trade deadline, and this past offseason, what they did not do, and the type of players that they did pick up this season. It's just a lot of, I don't know if you want to call them reclamation projects or not, but that's kind of what it feels like. With a lot of guys that we picked up this season, especially pitching staff wise, starters, bullpen, are all guys that have had bumps in the road in their career recently. There's some that had some really high points in their career, and there's some guys that have the potential for high points in their career that may not have hit them yet, but they've all shared the same kind of MO, where the last season or two, they've been kind of rocky. And so you grab them, you bring them in, see what your pitching coaches and what your coaching staff can do for these guys, maybe help them find what they're missing, and they turn out great. A lot of 1 year, 2 year type contracts with options and stuff like that. So not a whole lot's expected out of the Mets. But if you have something like Pete Alonso comes out, hits 50, 55 home runs, 125, 130 RBI, say something like that, hits 260, 270, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So signing him last season would have been ideal, but either they weren't close or they just the Mets weren't interested in signing him yet. They wanted to, kind of like what they did with Brandon Nimmo, let him go to free agency and let him test the market, come back with what he thinks is a fair market value, and kind of go from there. So that's what it looks like they're going to do with Pete. Smart or not, I don't know. I'm not a businessman. I'm just a blue collar, Joe Lunchbox, punching the clock kind of guy. So I don't know if it's smart or not. I ain't gonna pretend to. I'm not gonna act like I think it's smart. Got a couple comments. Yuki Matsui, what's up? He says, "Hey Kenny, what does the Mets season feel like? It feels like it's over before it has begun. No hope." I'm usually Mr. Positivity, so I don't feel like it's that bad. I feel like there's potential, like I just said, with so many different players that are almost like reclamations. Like you buy an old beat up car, or you buy a car that doesn't run for the previous owner very well. You get it. You kind of kick the tires on it. Say, what is he missing that I can figure out and fix? And you fix that car up, and it gives you 130, 200,000 miles. you get the most out of it you can. It's a great car. It's reliable. There's potential there for some of those guys to be that. So I'm not going to say it's a bust. Offensively, if our bats click the way they're supposed to, if Jeff McNeil comes out and hits like the batting champ that he was 2 years ago, if Pete Alonso comes out and works the count a little bit more, takes more walks, drives the ball more opposite field like he used to, the power numbers are still going to be there, but get that average back up to where it can be, anywhere from between 250, 265, they'll be fine. It's stuff like that. The DH spot, if we can get some sort of productivity out of that. Third base, if Brett Beatty, plays the way he can, the way that we know, we hope that he can play, I think everything's going to be fine. I don't think that they're going to go out there and be world beaters. There's a lot of really good teams in the National League. The Braves are going to be really good. The Phillies are going to be really good. The Dodgers, we already know. So, I'm sure there's going to be teams out there to surprise us. Maybe the Cubs or the Cardinals. The Giants, for some reason, I feel like are going to have a good season. And, even the Padres. The Padres, despite losing Soto and eventually maybe Blake Snell. I don't know if he signs. If he moves on or not. I don't think he's signed anywhere yet. At least not that I've seen. Losing guys like that. But the Padres still have a whole lot of really good, superstar type talent on that team. So they could still be good. Let's not forget all the money that they spent last season. They took a shit in their pants as well, just like we did. So, they have a lot to prove as well. It's not so much. I think best case scenario for me is that the Mets are very competitive. They push for a wild card spot, and they're in it the whole season. That's a win for me. I'm looking more towards 2025. The guys that we picked up that are reclamation type projects. How did they look this season? Are they worth signing long term? Some of these younger guys, Lucchesi, Budo, McGill, let's get them in the rotation as much as possible. Let's get them a ton of innings this season to see what they have. If they don't have what the Mets need, if they're not good enough to be a starting pitcher or even some sort of a reliable type bullpen type pitcher, well, it's time to move on. Budo's been in the system. I think I want to say almost 9 years, something like that. Through minor leagues and stuff like that. Lucchesi's been around, I think, probably 6-7 years. McGill's been around for a few years as well. It's time to see what these guys got. Are they going to step up and be productive? Be positive, production wise. If not, then okay, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. We have a couple guys. His first name escapes me. The last name Scott, the pitcher coming up through the system. Mike Vassell also coming up through the system. Whenever the kid from the last name Scott, I always think of Michael Scott from The Office, and it freaking trips me up. Just like Stearns, I always think Daniel Stearns, the former NBA commissioner, and his name's David Stearns. It always trips me up. So it kills me. It absolutely kills me. That's how my brain works. So I'm not calling no hope. To be honest with you, Yuki Matsui, Kodai Senga's injury could turn out to be a blessing. Somebody's going to have to step up in that role. Somebody's going to have to step up. There's nobody right now on that rotation that's a true blue number one. That I could think of anyway. I mean, there's a chance that Luis Severino, who has shown in the past that he can be a number one, but did not last season. So does he step up? Tyler McGill. There's been a battle between McGill, Lucchesi, Budo. Who's going to be the number 5 or number 6? Who's going to be the bottom, starter, to round out the rotation? Now these guys get a chance to even step up even more. So I look at it as an opportunity and proving ground for some of these other guys to prove themselves, to maybe even get a bigger, better role in this team or a bigger contract. So it could be a blessing in disguise. I mean, trust me, when I see it come across the wire, Senga getting hurt, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It just continues to crap all over the Mets. But down the road, it could prove to be very valuable. All right, we lose him until my personal opinion, I don't think we see him till June. By the time he get rests, stretches out, ramps up, gets some simulated or some minor league type games. By the time he actually gets up, it might be late May, early June. I'm thinking early June personally. That's just a gut feeling. That I haven't seen anything on that, but I'm thinking June. So there's 2.5 months for these guys to step up and show a Sean Manaea. Hey, I got what it takes to be your number one, number two. So, I mean, with Kodai Senga, he has a history of injury. So, and I didn't realize that until after he got hurt. And I did hear some podcasts talking about that. I didn't realize that he had a history in Japan of injuries, and that would explain why his contract was what it was. It wasn't an overly big contract. When you see Yamamoto and stuff like that, what kind of contract this guy got? It's like holy crap, how come we got Senga for only $75 million over, I think, was it 5 or 6 years, whatever it is. It didn't make sense to me. Then you hear about the injury history. It's like, all right, that makes a little bit of sense now. A lot of people were scared, because there wasn't, I don't feel like there was a whole parade of teams looking at Kodai Senga. There was a couple, but, compared to Yamamoto, by all means, Yamamoto is the better prospect, younger prospect than what Senga is or was. But still, you would have figured there would have been more teams involved. But that injury history creeps up and rears its ugly head. Eileen, what's up, Eileen? Hope, hey, there we go. Loving it. Thank you for checking the show out. Yuki says, I asked Google Gemini to generate an artificial intelligence picture of the Mets winning 2024 World Series. They gave me a picture of Yankees player wearing Dodgers ball cap. Oh boy, that's fantastic. And I'll tell you what, sooner or later I'm going to get to my prediction of who I think is going to be in the World Series, and that's kind of a spoiler alert right there. I'm not going to say who it is, but you can kind of figure it out. The two teams. But I think that, of course, the Dodgers. But I think the Yankees are going to have a big season. Hey, Cowboy Dave, what's going on, brother? You can check Cowboy Dave out on the Big Blue, or not the Big Blue Power, the Dem 215 boys talking Dallas Cowboy football, and also with myself, the Atomic Drop podcast on Saturday nights, and Extra Innings baseball podcast with Joel Sullivan. We'll be starting up in, I think, near the end of March. So, speaking of Big Blue Power, there she is. Stacy Northrop, what's going on? I think Yankees are going to surprise people. I think they're going to have a really good season, a really good bounce back season. With Juan Soto anchoring their lineup, and if Giancarlo Stanton stays healthy, that's a hell of a punch there. Between Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, and the big man Aaron Judge. So if they can figure their pitching out, their bullpen, they're going to be all right. And I tell you what, that AL East is super competitive. It's if the Baltimore Orioles play like they did last season, watch out, man. That AL East is going to be crazy. Fantasy Football Grill Advice, what's going on? She says, howdy, stars from Pal Talk told me about this channel. Howdy, stars from Pal Talk told me about this channel. Thank you for checking the show out. I appreciate the comment. So we have a lot of fun here. I like to talk anything, everything. You have comments about your team, throw it out there. I may not know anything about it, but spit some knowledge on us. She says, "Go Cubs!" There we go. Go Cubbies. You know what? A quick little story here about the Cubs. I always wanted to go to Wrigley Field. I like the old baseball stadiums. I always wanted to go to Fenway Park. I just missed the old Yankee Stadium. I had made it to Shea once, but I always wanted to go to Fenway, Wrigley, stuff like that. And my wife, who's not a sports fan at all, she had a business trip. I guess I'll just say a business trip in Chicago. It's almost like a seminar. And they're there for basically the whole week. And one of the days, she's like, "Oh, we're going to a baseball game." I said, "What do you mean you're going to a baseball game?" She's like, "Oh, we're going to see the Cubs at And I can't remember what she said Fenway Park. I said it's at Wrigley Field. And she goes, "Oh yeah, Wrigley Field. That's where I'm going to Wrigley Field." So, oh my gosh, it's killing me. It's she's going to. She just, she didn't care. She didn't, recognize it anything special. That would have been awesome if I was going to that. But it is what it is. I just I love the history and stuff like that. I think it's neat stuff. Eileen says, "My girl." There we go. So I wonder if Eileen's your Pal Talk person. My nick on there is Duck Colts. So you're also, I guess, you're a Colts fan as well. I do a Raiders and LA Kings podcast Fridays. I won't be on at 10 a.m. this Friday, but usually I do it at 10 a.m. This Friday I have a doctor's appointment, so I will be probably a little bit later, or maybe I'll do it Saturday. I'm not really sure yet. I have to figure it out. Yuki says, "You must pick one more guy for 1-year contract for the Mets, Monty or Snell or Martinez or Chapman." I'd go Montgomery. It seems like a lot of people are high on Montgomery. I mean, I would go Montgomery. I'd go pitching and go from there. I think our lineup's going to be fine. It's not going to be great. I think it's going to be fine if we get better production from last year than we did last year from the DH spot. Our DH spot was so bad last season. The year before, it was DH and catching. And like it drove me nuts, seeing McCann catching and Nito. As good as Nito, I thought Nito was behind the plate, wasn't offensively very good. So, but it's just our catching position. We got no offense out of 2 years ago, and DH. Well, then last year we get some offense out of the catching position with Francisco Alvarez, but our DH has sucked ass. It seemed like no matter who we put there was no sustainability, no sustained offense. So I think if we could figure that out, it doesn't have to be great. That's like DJ Martinez. He probably would be great, but you're paying out of the ass for him, and that's not what they're gonna do this season. So, but I think we have some decent options there. Nothing that's gonna blow anything up. Like I always picture a DH as being a monster. Somebody that just crushes home runs, produces runs, stuff like that, knocks in runs. Not a low average, but a lot of home runs, a lot of RBI. I'd be happy with the guy that goes that's our DH. That's going to hit 280 with 15 home runs and 50 RBI. I'd be pumped about that. That'd be awesome. Actually, 100% honestly, that's a great season. That's a Brandon Nimmo. Even though Nimmo had more home runs last year, but that'd be fantastic. So, and we'll see. I think Mark Vientos might have that in him if he gets the full-time DH spot or whatever. And I can't tell you how many times I've said this on the show, but I'll reiterate it, how I think the Mets should use the DH spot as a rest spot. If you have somebody that are an everyday fielder that you want to give a break, but you still want to keep their bat in the lineup, put them in your DH. Give them a series off from the field, a la Sterling Marte and Hunter Renfroe. You want to get Pete Alonso away from first base for a series, pull him off. Still let him hit. It's still basically almost a day off for him, if you ask me. I just go up there swinging a couple times, and that's it. He doesn't have to play the field all 9 innings. So stuff like that. I think you can do that. I think the Mets should do that. I think that's something they should explore in doing. Just keep it a platoon rotational, but with your guys on the field. If you want to say that Mark Vientos is your everyday DH, and that's fine. But when Starling Marte needs to come off the field, because all right, he's looking a little bit slow. He played the field, 3 or 4 series in a row. Let's get him in for a series, but we'll keep his bat in the lineup because his bat is really good in the lineup. Let's put him at DH and let's rotate somebody else out to the outfield, like a Tyrod Taylor, who we just picked up this season. You get him out there, and let's keep Vientos in. Let's give Beatty a break from third base. Let's put Vientos third base in game 1. Beatty in game 2. Vientos game 3. To keep them rotating. So there's so many different things you can do. I don't think you need to go out and get a JD Martinez, a Matt Chapman at third base. I think Beatty is going to have a bounce back here. I still believe in Brett Beatty. There's a reason why he was such a big prospect. Ranked so high, highly thought of. I do think Brett Beatty's going to bounce back. Is he going to be the Brett Beatty everybody's hoping for? Probably not, but it's going to be better than last season. Last season was a shit show, so that's not saying a whole lot. But I do think he'll be better. So I don't think you need to go get a Matt Chapman. Now, the starting pitching with the injury to Kodai Senga, we do have depth there through the system. But if one of these guys don't pan out, that's even a glaring hole. Somebody like a Montgomery would be good there. But I'm not a big fan of Blake Snell. I don't like Blake Snell. I think he's a little bit overrated. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't watch the Padres at all, but I do hear of them and watch some highlights, and I hear other podcast hosts talk about them. And I don't let that form my opinion, but I just never felt really all that good about Blake Snell. I mean, he does have 2 Cy Youngs, so he is doing something correct, but I think he's not as good as those 2 Cy Youngs would lead you to believe. So I would definitely go after Montgomery. That's just my thought. What about you, buddy? Who would you pick, Yuki? Fantasy Football Girl says, I love Wrigley, but I want to go to Fenway one time. And so here's a big thing. This summer, my oldest daughter has a softball tournament. Nationals will be in Connecticut. And I told my wife to look up. I think it's like I want to say hour and a half away from Fenway. So I'm kind of pushing. I think the Red Sox are there the weekend we get there. And so I'm kind of pushing to see if we can get in and get some tickets for a game. So as that creeps closer, I think in July, I'm gonna push pretty hard. I gotta get. I'm that close to Fenway. I gotta get to Fenway. I have to. Colts and Bears. Oh, there you go. You got your AFC and your NFC team. Usually we have on Fridays when I do my Raider show, a guy that does a Bears show, Foster Covers. He'll check into the Silver and Black lair. And he's a Bears fan, does a Bears podcast. That's pretty cool. You should check that out as well. Will you be covering March Madness? We've talked about it here at the Out of the Box Sports Network. So we'll see. I'm not a big basketball guy, so I can't cover. I wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking. I tell you what, you should see me go to my daughter's games. Both my daughters. It's like I'm telling my wife, I said that's a stupid rule. Double dribble and carry and stuff. That's bullshit. Because you want like this. That's nonsense. Get the hell out of here. The ball's bouncing. Give them a break. When they call it jump ball, when both players have the ball on the hand or their hands on the ball, I'm sorry. And the referee jump ball, but they just give possession, to whichever way the possession arrow's going. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. It's a jump ball. They should jump for the ball. That's what I think anyway. I say let them wrestle it out a little bit. But as soon as those hands touch, they call jump ball, and that's that. There's so many different rules I think are stupid in basketball. I'm not gonna get into it. So, but yeah, I'm not a big basketball fan. But like I said, we were talking about doing a March Madness show, so stay tuned for that. We'll see if we can find a co-host. Unless you want to do a co-host, unless you want to be a co-host there, Fantasy Football Girl, hit me up if you want to do a March Madness show, because we have at least one guy, Paul, who wants to do it. So if you're interested in being a co-host, you let me know. Any show, if you want to do any show, you let me know. If you want to do a Colts show, a Bears show, Cubbies, I think that'd be fantastic. Adam Glenn checking in. What's up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for checking the show out. Stacy says, I would love to see Monty back with the Yanks. No, we don't see Monty back. I'd like to see Monty in New York, but in the orange and blue. I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet. I'm surprised Snell hasn't signed yet. I just don't know what's going on. Like it's not like they're like aging, pitchers or anything like that. They're in their prime, especially Snell coming off a big season, Cy Young season. I mean, what's the deal here? I don't understand it. Jordan Montgomery, everybody, I hear all this talk about Jordan Montgomery. He's going here. This team would like Jordan Montgomery, but he's not going anywhere. Like, I don't understand. Especially now that we've started spring training, these guys are still sitting at home. I'm sure they're training, but not with the team. Hey, what's up, Richie? How you doing, buddy? Thank you for checking the show out. Let's go Phillies. That's what I say to that, Rich. Yuki says Bellinger signed a club-friendly contract. We can sign Monty, Snell, Martinez, and Chapman for the price of Alex Cohen's shoe collection. But I'll tell you what, we absolutely Steve Cohen could absolutely sign all those guys, absolutely, and I wouldn't. I think that'd be great. I have no problems with that. But just the way it seems to be going this offseason, they're not going to do that. So I don't know. Wouldn't that be something though, Yuki? I wake up from my slumber here, I guess 3:30. I'll probably 4:00. I'll probably wake up and rub my little eyes, try to get the dog hair out of my eyes, and the dogs are in bed with me. And I look at my phone before I leave to go pick up my daughter from school, and it says, the Mets have signed Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, DJ Martinez, and Matt Chapman. I'm like, what the hell? That would be something. Cohen's like, to hell with it. Let's just buy them all. Rich says in between Cy, Blake. Between Cy, Blake Snell has over 4 ERA with a lot more batters per nine. Yeah. It's and they hit him hard as well. It's not like it's he's a strikeout pitcher or whatever. He does get hit hard. He's been very fortunate. I 100% told him about you yesterday at Fantasy Football Girl. I appreciate that very much. Eileen, spread the word. I tell you what, I've been going on a follow spree on all my X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, pages. Just to get more followers, try to get more views and more viewers, and get more comments. More thoughts, more opinions. I love that. Thoughts and opinions are great. Then I don't have to look at my notebook. What do I want to talk about next? And I start stuttering on my words. I go, I look like an idiot then, which normally I do anyway. So I appreciate that, Eileen. So sure, but I'm a beginner at this YouTube set. I never did any sort of podcasting. I had a buddy, Rob Hefner, who I went to school with, reached out to me, he goes, "Hey, Kenny, you want to do a Raiders show, a Las Vegas show with me?" And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I have time for that. And he's like, let's just try it out. And so I get on with actually Paul. Rob was able to do it that week. I never did any sort of this. I bought a laptop. I didn't even have a laptop. All I had was a cell phone. This is what I'm doing on just a little laptop, cheapo from Walmart. And Paul walked me through it. Paul produced it and stuff like that. And he did everything. He was great. Eventually I learned how to do it. Now I do it on my own. And so yes, it's not hard at all. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. It's just it's a chance for you to get out your own opinions and have conversation with people otherwise you'd never have conversations. Like I would never have a conversation with you, because I would never know you. But now that you're on here commenting and we could talk back and forth, like you're almost standing in the same room as me. It's pretty cool. I think that's neat. Yes, SARS is Eileen. Connecting. It's beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye. Connections. Well, keep up the great content. I love it, but it's Cubby season, baby. Yes. So the one bummer about spring training is all the games seem to be in the afternoon, and I work night shift, so I miss everything. I'll wake up, like I said, at 3:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere around there, and I might catch like the last inning or two, if I remember to even, like I'm in a slumber. I'm like in a daze. When I get up and get moving. But sometimes I'll catch an inning or two, and that's it. So I miss a lot of it. So a lot of stuff that I get is through highlights and stuff, which is a bummer. Or occasionally, I used to have the MLB network, but they do a replay of the game. But I don't have the MLB network. I have YouTube TV, and I guess they don't carry it. Or at least the package that I have doesn't carry it. So yeah, again, if you're interested, let Eileen know, and Eileen could hit myself up and hit Paul up, and we could walk you through it. Absolutely. You could even, if you want to, you could try out the March Madness stuff. If you're into basketball, you could try out the March Madness show. Like I said, it'd be a couple shows. And if you like it, you could start your Colts show through Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, or a Bears show, or both. Like I said, I do a Raiders and a LA Kings show. I'm sure they're two different sports, But I do 2 teams in one show on Fridays. So anything. Even if you don't want to talk about sports, it's out of the box. If you want to talk about, I don't know, Justin Bieber fist fighting a homeless guy or something, that's whatever. People are going to watch that. That's up to you. I think that she would go live. There you go. Eileen, you're on the hook now. That's it. No excuses. All right. So with Senga going down, like I mentioned, who's going to fill that void? So a couple of names, like Sean Manaea. Not a great season last year. A 4.44 ERA, 7-6, 37 games, 10 games started. A 1.241 WHIP. I like looking at these numbers. I think these numbers are important to me. But walks per 9, the 3.2 walks per 9, and strikeouts per 9. He had 9.8 strikeouts per 9. Now also I start looking more at home runs per 9. He gave up 1.1 home runs per 9 innings, and didn't start out great last season, but finished pretty good. Which gives the Mets a lot of hope. And I did see some of his outing the other day through highlights, of course, and he looked good. He looked good. I like the hair. I'm digging the hair. Not there's a lot wavier, a lot crazier than what the Groms used to be, but I dig it. I dig the hair, the lettuce coming out of the hat there. I like that. So you have Manaea. Like I said about Severino, got blasted in New York last season, but had a lot going on, a lot of personal stuff going on. So he was 4-8, 6.65 ERA, 18 games started, 1.646 WHIP, 3.4 walks per 9, and 8 strikeouts per 9, but 2.3 home runs per 9. And that's a big thing. That's one of the things that really hurt us last season. Justin Verlander, he'd been having a great outing. All of a sudden, he gets lit up a little bit, a couple of home runs. And, now the Mets, who were struggling at the plate last season for the most part, were unable to recover from things like that. Verlander and Scherzer occasionally would give up the home run. A lot of our pitchers last season had issues with walks and home runs. Those were the two bugaboos last season for our starting pitchers. The walks and the home runs is killing us. Tyler McGill, he wouldn't be a number 1 starter, but if you move everybody up one, he becomes your 4 starter maybe. He was 9-8 last season, 4.70 ERA, 25 games started, a 1.575 WHIP, 4 walks per 9, a lot of walks, but not a lot of strikeouts. So that's a 7.5 strikeouts per 9, 1.3 home runs per 9. And I want to see more Joey Lucchesi and Jose Butto, so that's what I'm hoping for. And I do like Tyler McGill. I like Tyler McGill more than I like David Peterson. So he's out hurt right now, but when he gets back, we'll see what happens there. But everybody seems to like Peterson more than McGill. I don't know why I like McGill more. I don't know. Maybe because everybody doesn't like him. I'm underdog kind of guy. But a lot more people seem to like David Peterson than do like Tyler McGill because David Peterson's stuff is better. Didn't look like that last season, but whatever. A sip of iced tea for the working man. But yeah, last year, Jose Butto 1-4, 7 games started, 9 games pitched overall, 42 innings pitched, 3.64 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, 4.9 walks per 9, and 8.1 strikeouts per 9. Walks are way too high, but he only gave up 0.6 home runs per 9. So that ain't bad at all. That's really good. He got lit up in AAA, though. He got lit up in AAA. Lucchesi got lit up in AAA, but they both came up to the big club. They did well, especially Joey Lucchesi was 4-0, 2.89 ERA, 9 games started, 46.2 innings pitched, 1.307 WHIP, 3.3 walks per 9, and 6.2 strikeouts per 9. It was a very low strikeout rate. But again, 0.8 home runs per 9. Not bad. That's pretty good. So, you want to knock down those walks, maybe get those strikeouts up a little bit. But I mean, Greg Maddux, who wasn't really a strikeout pitcher, he put the ball where he had to and, forced guys into bad situations. He wasn't, electric by any stretch of imagination, was accurate, had, good breaking stuff. He wasn't throwing the ball hard. put guys in bad situations. So a little bit more on Kodai Senga. Like I said before, I wouldn't expect him back till early June probably. He has a moderate right posterior capsule strain. Yeah, that. Whatever the hell that is. He did have an injection of what the hell is it? Not hemoglobin. Plasma. He had plasma. He had a plasma injection into his shoulder. That's a type of treatment to have, but it's going to be restive. My biggest fear with it is that we bring him back, May, June, whatever it's going to be, and he ends up, throwing his arm out, requiring Tommy John. He tears that UCL. It just, there's more issues to it, and you lose him the rest of this season, but also next season. That's my biggest fear with this whole injury with Kodai Senga. And I don't want to say they should shut him down for the season because that's not. I don't think that's feasible. He has to pitch, but I'd be very careful. Any kind of wince or any kind of tightness or whatever, give him time. I just can't keep pushing him out there because like I said, I'd rather lose him for half the season this year than lose him for 3/4 of the season this year and all of next year. I think that'd be awful. There's another guy out there, Noah Syndergaard. I mean, nobody wants to hear about him. Being a former Met and not really been able to find his former self, basically. The way he pitched with the Mets, he hasn't been able to find that yet. I don't think he probably never will find it. If he hasn't found it yet, probably won't find it. I know his fastball has dropped off pretty much from a really good fastball, pretty good heat, 95 to 90, 97 mile an hour, down to I think the low 90s, and he's just struggled. He struggled with the Dodgers, the Phillies. Well, he didn't pitch that bad for the Phillies, I don't think. To be honest with you, I thought he pitched okay in the playoffs the year they went to the World Series. If I remember correctly, they had a quick leash on him. They had a really quick leash on him. I do remember that. But I mean, I don't see why not try him out. He'd be cheap. Bring him in. Maybe have him down in the minors. As a just in case kind of guy. Let him toil down there for a while, see what he got, and bring him up after that. That's what I think. I talked about Pete Alonso already. That's pretty much. It's starting to pour again. I could hear the rain hitting the roof. Oh boy. So that's pretty much all I have for the Mets today. I do have my divisional. Adam says I like Boa. He means Noah. I like Noah too. I really do like Noah Syndergaard. It's a real bummer what happened to him with the UCL and stuff, and just never really able to regain his past self yet. I don't think he will, but you never know. I do have my predictions for the NL West and AL West. I wanted to get in more depth to it. I wanted to get into key losses, key returners and stuff like that, or key additions. But I didn't get a chance to. But I'll still give you my predictions. So maybe next week I'll get into the key losses and predictions for key losses and additions for the West teams, AL West, NL West. But the AL West, I have the Astros winning the division. They'll have between 90 95 wins. Right behind it, it's going to be a tight race, just like last season. Right behind them, you'll have the Rangers, 90 to 95 wins, and the Mariners, 90 to 95 wins, all clumped up just like last season, which was a really fun race down the stretch. And eventually, you have the Rangers win the World Series. So I think they won Division 2, but I can't remember. For some reason, the Astros won the division last year. I don't know, but it was like a half game, or it was a tie, and it was a tiebreaker kind of thing. I don't remember. But it was a fun race down the stretch, those three teams. I have the Angels in fourth place, winning between 70 and 75 games. Of course, we all know the loss of Shohei Ohtani. That's huge. That starting pitcher, their best pitcher, their best hitter, gone. They still do have Mike Trout. Everybody talks about Mike Trout, being traded, or why would he want to be there? And Mike Trout has said, he's loyal. He said, he wants to win in Anaheim or Los Angeles, whatever you want to call them, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So he said he wants to win there. He's an Angel, and there it is. And the eventual Las Vegas A's, I have them rounding up the basement there in the AL West, winning between 70 and 75 games. I think it's going to be another treacherous season, but I mentioned this last week. The A's, you never know. It's they pulled the major league here. They tanked to move, and now they're moving. Now they start building it back up. And before the last couple seasons, they were, I don't want to say a perennial playoff team, but every year they were in the talk with wild cards and playoff pushes and stuff like that. So they were no slouch, and they did it through the whole Moneyball concept and analytics and stuff. So don't be shocked if when they move to Las Vegas and they get that new stadium, that all of a sudden they're pushing they're knocking on wild card's door. Knocking on wild card's door. So that's what I have for the AL West. The NL West, I have, of course, the Dodgers, 100 to 105 wins. I think that's low. They have the potential to do something really special this season. But we'll see what Yamamoto is. We'll see what they get out of Ohtani. He did have a home run in his first spring outing the other day. $700 million. Unbelievable. Good for him. Yeah, he got the lottery ticket. It is what it is. I think the Giants are going to be a surprise this year. I have them winning between 90 and 95 games, probably more than the 90 spot there, nowhere close to the Dodgers. I have the Padres bouncing back, pushing for a wild card, 85 to 90. I think closer to the 90 type wins. They'll be right behind the Giants. The Diamondbacks, I think they're going to take a step back. A young team, overachieved last season. They kind of take a step back a little bit. They'll be in the mix for a wild card, but I wouldn't expect them to make the playoffs this year. Coming up, I have them winning between 80 and 85 wins, and the Rockies rounding out the bottom, 75 to 80 wins, probably closer to the 75. Let's see here. Fantasy Football Girl says, "What do you think about my Cubbies?" I think the Cubs are going to be good. I think they played last season. They played down a little bit in the first half, 3/4 of the season. They played really good. They got back in the wild card race. They were in the wild card. And they kind of shit the bed at the end. They had, I think, 3 or 4. I think they had 3 or 4 series in a row where they were facing just the top teams in the league, and it really bit them in the ass. But they underachieved last year. I think they'll bounce back, and we'll see what they get. When I do the Central next week, when I talk AL NL Central next week, I'll look into it a little bit more. But I know they lost Stroman, re-signed, what the hell's his name? Is it Bellinger? No, Seager. Is it Seager? I think it's Seager. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Bellinger. Yeah, there we go. Bellinger. Thank you, Eileen. Eileen's my fact checker. Bellinger. They re-signed Bellinger. So, there was so many different rumors about Pete Alonso being traded to the Cubs. So who the hell knows what's going to happen there? Now the latest rumors, Pete Alonso to the Toronto Blue Jays, and it's something that I talked about before as well. Is there a chance that I heard a podcaster say this, which I thought was interesting. It comes up to trade deadline. The Mets are out of it. Mets, Steve Cohen and David Stern sits Pete down and say, "Hey, Pete, we want you to be a Met. But we want you to have a chance to push for that World Series this year. So we're going to trade you to a contender, see what we can get back for you. But then in the offseason, we still want to re-sign you and bring you back." I don't know how Pete would take that, but I think that would be interesting to see if we can get. It would be It'd be the ultimate double dip there, like Seinfeld double dipping the chip. You stick that chip in there, you get a little bit of dip on it. You take a bite, and like, oh, that's pretty good. And you go in for a big scoop. That's how it would be. You trade Pete Alonso away, get something in return. That's your little dip. You take a bite, like, all right. Then you go back in for the big scoop, and you get Pete back. How about that? How about an analogy there? I'll tell you what, man. If that isn't Sports Center worthy, I don't know what is. That's a Sports Center worthy analogy. I'm telling you. And I don't even know if analogy is the right word, but it should be. But yeah, I'll be doing the Central next week, AL and NL Central predictions, and I have the Cubs looking pretty good. I have the Cardinals bouncing back as well. But the big wild card is going to be the Reds in that division. I think. Are the Reds for real? I know last season they're surprising so many different people, and so many different teams and so many different people with the young stars that they brought up and how well they played. But then they also kind of tapered off at the end. So are the Reds for real? Are they going to come back next season and really take that next step? I don't know. You got the win in the World Series again. Are you talking about the Cubs? I don't know if I'd go that far, but you never know. So a couple guys play out of their minds, and you just never know. The Phillies. Who would have thought the Phillies 2 years ago were going to go to the World Series? So you just never know. Adam says mine wants to be on the Phillies. Who wants to be on the Phillies? Are you talking about Noah? Syndergaard? I don't know who you're talking about there. She says both. Was that Seager and Bellinger? I don't know what both was. And yep. All right. All right. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to go to bed now. I wish I had a little bit more, but like I said, I want to do a breakdown. I just didn't get a chance to do my key additions, key losses, all that stuff for the teams for the AL and NL West teams. But like I said, you got the gist of it. And I'll be moving forward. Adam Glenn says Mike Trout. He does not want to be on the Phillies. If he wanted to be on the Phillies, he would have signed with the Phillies a couple years ago when he was a free agent. He's just a Philly fan. He knows those Philly fans are dickheads. That's what it is, Adam Glenn. He's like, why would I want to go to Philadelphia? If I have a bad month, they want to hang me. So I won't want to go there. To hell with Philadelphia. Adam Glenn. Huh? How do you like them apples? Big apples. All right, so that's all I have. You know what I got sponsor reads to do before I get the hell out of here. Jesus Christmas. How about that? I forget about him all the time. Jason Fine, Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123, 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In the Garden State, the office is located in Cherry Hill, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in the city of brotherly love, the offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. That's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in case you didn't know. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney, Big Al. I got that much into the city of brotherly love this time that I forgot to say Philadelphia, but you can figure it out. Everybody knows the city of brotherly love is Philadelphia. Everybody knows that. Then head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Get all your gourmet coffee need there. They got the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, which is fantastic. They have a Sumatran medium roast blend for all you coffee drinkers out there who don't want the added flavor to it. Like my dad, he's one of those people. He goes, ew, I don't want that. If I have like a French vanilla creamer, it's like, oh no, give me milk or whatever. I'll drink it black, he says. So they have a Sumatran medium roast blend. They also have a Peru La Florida blend. That's an organic blend. And one of their newer flavors is Golden Honey Agave. Fantastic coffee there. It's even better with a shot. I'm telling you, try it out. Get this coffee and try a shot. Maybe not even a full shot, but a shot of the Honey Jack Daniel's honey. It's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. They also have barrel aged honey they're selling on their site at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Head on over to the swag shop. Get yourself a T-shirt, coffee mug, tumbler. I can't tell you how great the tumbler is. It's just fantastic. The cold brew pitcher is super easy to use. K-cup adapter and the Paradise Rum Cake. All that at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. The promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Hey-o! All right. Adam says, Rex Mets suck. I ain't going to argue with you, Adam. The Mets weren't great last year, but the Phillies didn't win a World Series, so cheers. Or the Braves. Double cheers to that one. I think we can both cheers to that one, Adam. Glad the Braves didn't win last year, so here we go. The Braves are the ultimate regular season team. All right, so that's all I have for today. Again, the fantasy football girl, reach out to Eileen. Get your information over to her, or she'll connect you to Paul or myself, and we'll figure it out. We'll get you on, girl. We got you. It's a lot of fun. It's not hard at all. Oh, speaking of the devil, he shall appear. Paul Spencer said, "What's up, Bat Frie? This thunder is fierce today." I'll tell you what, about Paul, I shit you not, about an hour and a half ago, I was there, nodding off on the couch waiting for 10 a.m. and there was a crack. I nearly shit myself. It was unbelievable. I jumped out off the couch. The cat went running. Dogs are barking. It's like, what the hell is that? Unbelievable. Then it started pouring, and it was just raining a couple minutes ago, but no thunder, so we got lucky there. It's where I'd lose the my signal for the stream. But yeah, Paul, are we doing a March Madness? We had a young lady here, fantasy football girl, wanted to know if we were doing a March Madness. I said, I'll tell you what, fantasy football girl, we will if you hop on and do it with Paul. I don't watch basketball. I don't even know who's what or who's who. But she would like to know if we're covering March Madness, and I think there's potential there. Maybe do a Colts show, a Bears. She's into the Bears, also the Cubs. So you might have something there, Paul. Like I said, hit Eileen up. All right. So that's all I have for today. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out. Thank you for the comments. Paul says, yes, I'd love to do March Madness. Reach out to Fantasy March Madness. Okay. I don't know. Reach out Fantasy. That maybe it's calling her. All right. Anyway, that's the only downfall to doing this. Sometimes that the comments, the way you read them, it's not right. So, and he also said, leave my Braves alone. The ultimate regular season team in all the sports. That's the ultimate regular season team right there, the Braves. They'll be awesome in the regular season. They shit the bed in the postseason. That's the Braves. Reach out to Paul, and he'll talk you into it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. It makes things a lot easier. It makes things a lot more fun when there's comments. Kind of like his Cowgirls. I don't know. For the longest time, the Cowboys were 500. They're mediocre. But the Braves have been basically good since 1990. I mean, there's only been like 3 down years for the Braves. I mean, so you look at, what is that? Christ, 34, 35 years, and they got 2 World Series, all those divisional championships. I mean, I shouldn't talk. The Mets only have 2 World Series, or Mets have no World Series in that time frame. But they were. I think they're probably 2 of the World Series more than the Braves were in that time frame. No, twice. Right? I think the Braves were at 2 World. No, I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up now. I think the Braves were to. I want to say the Braves were to 3 World Series. They won 2, lost 1, but I could be wrong. It could be more than that. I know the Mets lost 2. They lost to Yankees. They lost to the Royals. So, all right. Anyway, all day here, furrowing my brow, trying to figure things out, but I'm not going to do it. Go back to work, Stacy. What are you doing on company time watching podcasts? What's the matter with you? All right, everybody. Thank you again. Be sure to check us out. Facebook, YouTube, X, which is formerly Twitter. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. Like, follow, please, for the love of God, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. I can't preach that enough. Very much appreciated. Last comment of the day, and it's Stacy. She says, "Shit up." I mean, I'm sure she means shut up, but I like shit up better. Oh, that's Paul said shit up. I didn't even see that. It's shit up, Stacy. So she's saying shit up with a question mark. Paul says, "I'm Asian. I can't see little kid." There we go. We got a little bit of Asian jokes. That's what we do on these shows. A lot of Asian jokes. We'll end on that. All right, I'm out of here. See you guys later. Thank you everybody for checking it out. Thank you for the comments again. Like a 50th time I said it. And let's go Mets.